together for Briar Nolet.
We took some time out off stage with dance superstar Briar Nolet on her recent UK tour for The Next Step. We chatted about her epilepsy journey and how it's made her passion for dancing even stronger.
Dance has been, since I can remember, like the biggest part of my life really. Even like school, I started homeschooling when I was like in grade 11, but before that, I only went to high school like half a day. I would leave at 12 at lunch, do one course online, and then I would go to dance. So literally dance is my life from like 2 p.m. till 10 every night, go to school and then do the same thing. And on weekends, it was like 9 to 9. I had like 12-hour days at the studio, and I love them. I lived for those days. I'm very competitive, like in the best way, I would say. I'm not like me, but very like competitive for myself. And so I think like between being competitive but also so passionate about it, it was just like that perfect mix. So I've just always thrived on stage. It's always been my favorite. It literally just balances you, like, or for me, it just completely like brings me away, like takes me away, gets me calm, puts me in like this amazing state of mind, and then I come out like so fresh and it's really incredible what it does. Ooh, that was the most challenging part because my seizures are only triggered by learning choreo. It was something between like, I guess learning it and then trying to physically do it. Like there was some connection between the two of them that got lost every time. I was at conventions, which is pretty popular. Like, as a kid, I grew up doing them all the time. Being 16, I had done them for years and years now. And I never had experienced anything like it. It wasn't a seizure yet. I was learning choreo from choreographers super fast because you only have like an hour with them in a large group of people, a bunch of studios. I would do the choreo, and in the middle of doing it, I would kind of like, it's kind of like a blank out, but like I wouldn't see black. I would just kind of like jerk, like trip for a second. Like everything would just kind of like go away, I guess. Yeah, I don't know, it's hard to explain what it was, but I kept having those, and I was like, I would laugh it off. I was like, I don't know what's happening. I was like, okay, so I'm just gonna keep going, and I would get back into it, but I knew something was weird, but I didn't think anything of it. I was like, maybe I'm just not learning choreo properly these days. And he's like, my teachers would even get mad at me. They're like, what are you doing? Like, you're not even focused enough to learn the choreo, because I'm so used to doing it like super fast. Anyways, it kept happening a little bit more often, but nothing really came from it. So I never really thought anything of it. And then I remember I was filming The Next Step, actually. I was filming a season, and then after set, I went back to my home studio to take a hip hop class. And I had gotten the kind of like blank outs that I was getting per usual. And then we went into groups to do the combo. I just remember like having one of them, and then it's like my mind went into like a blur, I guess. Like I could still see and talk and hear, but like it was like a fuzz. Like my mind was like in a fuzz, and my right hand started to shake, and it always is. Every time I have one, my right hand shakes, and I always reach out to the left corner. The first time I like was standing because I didn't know what was happening, and then I like just tip over, and I was like passed out before I even hit the floor. Now like I know to get to my knees, and I can like say stuff before I have like 10 seconds, no, not even 5 seconds. And then that was the first one that happened. So my sister was in the room, like everyone was kind of freaking out. They got everyone out. I went to the hospital. I was still under 18. I did all the tests, EEGs, all that stuff. Everything came back clear. So I was like, okay, so I was either like, maybe it's a concussion, maybe it could have been anything. For me being dropped on my head so many times, like a dancer with partners, like I'm like, honestly, it could be a concussion. I never passed out also. I'd never been unconscious in my life. So it was really trippy for me. I was like, I've never even fainted. So I woke up, and my dance teacher was there, and I was like, did I just like faint? And they were like, no, it was a seizure. And I was like, what? So I was just confused. And then every time I learned choreo, I kept having them. So I never had a seizure besides being in a dance studio. I think it was more frustrating for me because I love to always like push through things. I'm not one to like let it settle. I think it was also frustrating to see how much of a toll it took on my family, especially my mom. Like she's really, like we're really, my whole family's really close, but like especially my mom, like she didn't know what to do, she'd never seen one, so she was just kind of confused as to why they kept happening, and they just wanted me to stop. They're like, you need to stop till we figure it out, and I was the one that was like, no, I'm not, I'm just gonna keep going, I'll take it at my own pace. I thought it was something that I could control eventually, because they were like, if it's not epilepsy, then maybe it's same as some sort of like anxiety that like you have to get over whenever it's in a dance studio, because that was the only place it's happening. So that's what they kind of thought. So I saw a psychologist to try and like find ways that when I'm like feeling stressed or anxious like in a dance class, to calm myself, to hopefully then like stop myself from going into the seizures, which didn't make sense to me. There was something still that was off, because I was like, I'm not one to get stressed, like let alone stressed enough to have a seizure. I was like, it's not like me. I don't know, it just didn't feel right. So anyways, I trusted them though, because I was like, I have no other options. Like I've seen a lot of people. So I was just trying to stay hopeful for it. I kept going to dance classes and they kept happening, and they slowly started to get worse. And if I was doing schoolwork and I was writing really fast or like typing something really fast, I started to get like, not the seizures, but like the blankouts that I started to get before the seizures started originally. I guess I kept seeing more neurologists. My dad works with a concussion specialist, so I went to him. He gave me an EEG test. There was like a regular like 3-hour one, I think, or like with the lights, they just like test you in the room. He was like, there's nothing really big here, but let's keep looking into it. So I wore an EEG home for 3 days so he could test my brain waves at home, and then that's when they found it. So I guess it's pretty mild, like for epilepsy, like it was hard to find, so I'm lucky that it wasn't like anything too intense, but it was straining for sure. So then I was put on medication, which I'm still on. And I've been seizure-free for like 2 years, I think, in December. So far, so good. It sits better with me to know that I have something than to be like unsure of it. Yeah. Like as much as I hate being on medication, because like my body relies on it, like I'd much rather be on it and not have a seizure. So I mean, when I first heard, I was like, okay, this is good, like we're getting somewhere, like this is something at least. But then there was like the struggle of like, okay, what medication do I go on, and like, is it gonna work, and like all that. Because I know a lot of people that like, they still can't find medication that works for them. Like it's hard to find. So I had like 4 options. I was like, you know what, why don't I start with the one that has less side effects? It's not maybe guaranteed to work off the bat. But then if anything, I can go up from there and work on it. So I took that one. I think I strayed away from dance for maybe like 3 months just to give my body a break to kind of get used to it. And then I started slowly. So I started like writing and typing and doing that thing, seeing if that went away when I was typing really fast, talking, any of that stuff. Once I felt comfortable with that, I went to my home dance studio in Oakville in Toronto. And once I got more comfortable with that, and I knew that like I wasn't having any of the blankouts, I could raise it up to like getting in the class with people that like I knew and starting there, and then eventually get into classes where I didn't know anyone. But it was scary. I mean, I had to like take the step. It was either like, I had to try it to know if the medicine was gonna work. I love talking about it because I just want to inspire people, and I think going on to the show, I thought it was the perfect platform to share it, because I wanted it to just like, I didn't want to just post it and be like, okay, here it is. Like I really wanted people to see me talking about it and really just share my side of what it is and what it means to me. And then once I got past the first round, I knew that I wanted to dance about it, but I was like waiting for the perfect song and just everything in general. And so for the duels, I felt that the song was perfect, and the storyline behind it. So like whenever I did that, that was like my hand that was shaking, because like I always like tried to, there was sometimes during or before a seizure where I could grab my hand and I could like get my mind out of the blur, but it was hard. But if not, then obviously it went into one. So that was like the biggest struggle for me, was like my right hand was always like a trigger. So even like sometimes when I'm learning choreo, like you'll catch me holding it, or like I'll run out of the room just to take my medicine, because like I still get anxious about it sometimes, even though like I know I'm okay. It's just kind of like it reverts back to when it wasn't. And I'm very like a power dancer. Like I'm not even one to really like, I like expressing, but I'll express to like inspire. Like sometimes I won't even like really take my own stories and put them on stage as much. So that one was like the first time that I really like dug deep and like really found a story and like movement that like meant something really special to me. I got a lot of great feedback, and like even to this day I'll get messages all the time about just people asking for advice or like just sharing their story with me, and I just love reading about it, because it's obviously I wasn't familiar with the epilepsy community before any of this happened, but now it's like one of the most important things for me is just to stay involved in the community and just do what I can. And just like meeting doctors and meeting people that go through different but the same situations, I guess, is really special. Yeah, it's really interesting to me. So it's pretty popular actually. Like even on Worlds of Dance, there was like 3 people with epilepsy on the show. Yeah, so it's more popular than you even think. I've always been grateful for dance, but I feel like when you go through something so traumatic, it definitely makes you even more grateful for it. Like I never take it for granted. Not that I did, but I feel like it's something you can oversee all the time. So I just never take it for granted. Every time I step on that stage, I'm just like so grateful that I can do it now, or I can learn a count of 8 even though I'm so tired. Maybe it's just like I can learn it, and that's all that means to me. So I don't complain. I'm like, I can do it. That's all I could ever ask for, and that's all I wanted to ever ask for when I was going through it. So Jordan Clark, who plays Giselle on the next step, she's like my mom, my dance mom. She was there for, I think she was there for like 6 of my seizures. She was there for quite a bit of them, and she just like knew exactly what to do. She always like calmed me down. Like she just knew when I woke up she was always there, and all of them were super helpful. Like there was one seizure I had where it was right after lunch. I had gum in my mouth, so like Isaac, who I've grown up with, he like tried to stick his hands in my mouth to get the gum out. Like literally, I literally almost bit his finger off, but like he got it out. Like they've just been so, yeah, I couldn't even say thank you enough, like what they've done for me. Miles only saw my last one. It was really crazy. He's obviously been dancing with me for so long. He was never in any rehearsals that I was in when I had them. So the one that he saw was my last one. It was like pretty bad, and that's when like I really had to figure something out because it was getting pretty deep. So yeah, they've been so helpful. Even to this day, if I need anything at all, or if I leave the room, they know that like I need to just take a second and do my thing. Or if I say, all right guys, can you like take over for a second, then they jump in and they're super on it. Yeah, so they've been so great. So beautiful and loyal. They've been loyal to our show for like 7 years since it started. So yeah, we're so lucky. It's been great. I think we're similar in the way that we're super like focused and like determined. I think both of us, like when we have our eye on something, like our focus is like there. Like we will not stop until we do whatever we gotta do. Her balance is a little different than mine. Like I like to be well balanced in all areas, like my family, my friends, and my career and all that stuff. Richelle's like career first, like all the time, no matter what. So I would say we differentiate in that sense, but I mean, she's a little snobbier. Like she has an attitude to her, which is fun to play, but I feel like it's not like me necessarily. If you're finding out, or you found out, or you're maybe searching for answers to find out, I would just say, obviously your health is first, so stay safe. If you know what is triggering it, be cautious of that. And in my case scenario, it was hard because I wanted to dance all the time, but like I said, taking a step back for a second is only going to drive you forward more than taking 5 steps back. So if it's something that you need to take a second on, take a second, but know that it's not impossible to come back from. Some people are like, oh, maybe you won't dance again. I'm like, just wait, I will. Anything's possible, but take care of yourself because seizures are difficult. My biggest fear is I can't even think about anymore. I try not to think about it. I mean, it's always with me. Epilepsy is a part of me, but I try not to let it like affect my everyday. If I'm in a dance class, I'm gonna try and enjoy and live in the moment and know that I can do this and enjoy doing that instead of thinking about the memories of me being on the floor having a seizure, because I gotta live in the moment, and I'm just grateful that I can do it now. So I would say the past is the past and you can't change it, but you can live in the moment. And so if you can do that specific thing that you couldn't do when you were having seizures, then enjoy it. Yeah.
Emotional.